Welcome back to the VR workshop. It's good to be back. 2 weeks in racing in Australia, which was fantastic. But we're tired, we're jet lagged. We do have a new starter solenoid, which I think might be the problem. Let's make some noise. Well, that was annoying. Jet lag and wiring is not a good combination. So, was it the starter solenoid? No, not at all. I thought it might be a problem with the wiring that I adjusted behind the dash to give power to the oil temperature sensor. Pulled all that out just to double check it, and it was fine. Buzzed out all the wires thinking it might be corrosion in the hand controls. That was also fine. So we'll go back to this, because obviously this used to be in a protective box in the last version of this bike. So all this has been out and changed. Thought it might be in the main power switch, just through corrosion again, so pulled all the main power switch apart, and that was fine. Checked all the wiring, that was fine. Noticed that there was one extra earth wire on the earth buzz bar as opposed to on the ECU. That wasn't fine. Put a croc clip on it, and sure enough, everything behaves exactly how it should be. Annoying. So, wasted 3 hours or something, and now we're going to have to tidy up all the wiring back up again. But at least we figured out what it was. It was something simple. So we're going to start this up. Shouldn't be waiting for 2 weeks for this. We're going to fire it up just as it is. We know we've got oil in it. We know we've got fuel in it. We'll just see what happens. I've not, apart from just making sure that the engine works on the button, I've not tried this either. So it might be a good witness point. It may be a really bad one. We'll stay tuned. Okay. Just think this thing is going to fire. Power to the dash. Fuel pressure going around the system. We can hear fuel returning to the tank, so just give it a shot. Ooh. Sticky throttle, maybe? Someone's not happy. Getting an oil pressure warning for some reason. Okay. Well, it runs. Don't know why we don't have any oil pressure. Need to look at that. Because, well, seeing that we don't know. Okay, got some work to do, but hey, she fires. Okay, first startup, what have we learned? We've learned that the throttle is quite sticky. I did notice that when we're putting it in, I suspect the O-rings that are in the butterfly shafts have swollen with probably the race fuel, and they're binding on it. That's the only thing I can think of. So I'm probably going to have to pull the throttle bodies off again to have a look at that. And we also have an oil pressure problem. The oil pressure warning light is coming on once the thing is running. So we'll fit a new one, see if that's the problem. Nothing's easy. So second oil pressure switch went in, same problem. Let's test the switches. This is the one that was fitted first, the one that was good during the last attempts. So we'll switch the meter on, we've got continuity through that switch. And if we just add a little bit of air to the switch, we lose continuity. So switch is working. It's breaking the contact when you have oil pressure, which is good. Now, this was, sorry, that was the new one that came out of the bag. They had the same problem. This one should do the same. Yep. Exactly the same problem with that one too. So we've concluded that these switches break contact when there's oil pressure, which is a good thing, because that's now telling us that when we start running it, the error is coming on. So it's going to be a software. I need to go into the plug-in to ECU and check that something's not been zapped when I try to start it with no ground control on the ECU. Okay, progress. Final test before we go on a bit further. The oil pressure sensor is now plugged into the meter. So when we see pressure, this should go full scale and break the circuit. That at least we know we've got oil pressure. Well, nothing's ever easy, is it? So we've got a bit of work to do on the dash, because it looks like the oil pressure issue is coming from the dashboard. That's wired directly, it doesn't go through the ECU. So it's probably got something to do maybe with the faulty earth. It's triggered an upset in the dash, and we just need to reinstall the config file. Some software issue, it won't be much. Quite confident that's going to be okay. It could be something to do with the slight lack in oil pressure, because we're running a bigger oil cooler as well. It does run a millivolt trigger. So again, we can look into that. I'm not saying that as a big issue. We do have pressure. Bigger issue is the butterflies on the throttle. They've got really stiff for some reason. I don't know why. So we're going to have to pull all that airbox out again and have a good look at it. Maybe change the seals. It's quite possible that the O-rings have just got energized with fuel over time, even though they look like pretty slack. But 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Let's get the airbox off. Okay, good news is it's only one side that's got a problem. So this springs back nice and easy, not a problem at all. This, however, is really sticky. And I'm thinking it's going to be the O-rings that are on each side of this. So at the end of the world, we'll pull them out and get done. It doesn't take 10 minutes to change this out, so let's see what we can find. Problem found. So we now have that butterfly just spinning nice and freely. And it was these 3 O-rings in here that are causing the problems. I think they look a bit swollen as well, to be fair. And they've just swollen up and gripped on the shaft a bit too much. So we'll find some other O-rings and throw them in. Problem should be solved. New O-rings. Less binding. That's the way it should have been. Why didn't I do that when it was off before, I hear you ask? I'm asking myself the same question. Never mind, wasted an hour, it's fixed. One quick run up to test the throttle, because it's now not sticking, it's nice and free. And then we'll probably throw the swing arm on. Perfect. Swing arm on next. These have got little holes in them. I'm going to lock wire these instead of thread locking them because I've no idea if this sprocket's going to be too large or too small. It should be too small because all the other sprockets I've got are actually larger. So just in case I have to change it, we'll just lock wire them instead. And no, I don't buy these like this. I do have the painstaking job of drilling the hole in each one of them, which is never fun and quite boring on camera, hence you've never seen it. Time to fit a chain. Okay, what I didn't take into consideration is the sprocket's too small for this to go over. Okay, plan B, it's fine, we can work around it, we can work around it. Chain fitted. Fitting it in a rather unorthodox way, just because you can't get the chain tool over the sprocket, but we got there eventually. I am a little bit concerned with the length of the chain. If I need to fit a larger sprocket for whatever reason, we need to put extra links in that chain. Now we are going with additional chains, and we do have additional links as well, but just over there. Because if we go any closer, that tire is going to panic about hitting the swing arm at speed because the tire will expand. And that's happened before, not on this bike, but I've had it happen with a front mudguard. Actually, took the whole front guard right off. Just different profile tire. So just keep an eye on it. We need to look at it as we go forward. To give you an idea how small the sprocket is versus what we've had before, that's roughly where the chain guard goes. We'll make it fit, but it's slightly big for the job now. Anyway, we'll put it for the dyno. We can put it on later. Typically, the minute I switched off the camera, I realized that we do need to fit the chain guard because it's integrated with the paddock stand bobbin, which we'll need to move the bike around. Before we start the clutch, it's probably a good time to stop the video here. The clutch is going to be quite an in-depth one with what's gone wrong in the past and getting the new one in, and we've got a couple of other bits and pieces to do before we can get this bike on the dyno. So I'm going to call it here. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.